Mr. Vice President, Americans for Democracy and Human Rights in Bahrain, with the Bahrain Institute for Rights and Democracy and the Bahrain Center for Human Rights, would like to thank the High Commissioner for his report. We share your concerns raised about the deeply troubling human rights situation in Bahrain. In January of this year, Bahrain unlawfully executed 3 victims of torture in a move that ended an informal moratorium on executions in Bahrain since 2010, which you remarked was deeply regrettable. 2 additional men remain at imminent risk of execution. In your report, you raised concerns over Bahrain's closing political and civil society space. Indeed, since June 2016, the government has moved to dissolve the leading political societies, Al-Wafaq and WAD, imposed lengthy arbitrary prison sentences against political opposition leaders, imprisoned human rights defenders like Nabil Rajab, issued widespread travel bans against activists traveling to Geneva, and targeted civil society members and their families with acts of reprisals. We agree that repression will not end people's grievances, it will increase them. We also echo your deep concern over the increasing human rights violations in the kingdom. Just this year, the government expanded the arrest powers of the National Security Agency. The NSA was responsible for widespread enforced disappearance and for deaths of detainees under torture in 2011. The agency's arrest powers were withdrawn in line with the recommendations of the 2011 BICI Commission. Reinstating these powers represents a dangerous reversal in one of the few constructive reforms undertaken since 2011. In another move that recalls the 2011 protests and subsequent government crackdown, Bahrain's legislature this week approved a constitutional amendment that would allow military courts to try civilians. Furthermore, the government has moved to target prominent Shia religious leaders like Sheikh Issa Qasim. We ask, what role does your office play in cases like Sheikh Issa Qasim's and Nabil Rajab's? Finally, we agree that the government must undertake concrete confidence-building measures to arrest the kingdom's steep decline over recent months. With this in mind, we ask, what steps would you recommend to Bahrain's government, parliament, and judiciary to effectively and urgently reverse these recent trends? And what are some immediate steps you would recommend to the government of Bahrain to de-escalate the rising crisis? Thank you.
The Americans for Democracy and Human Rights in Bahrain also similarly raised questions of what can be done. I think that the response I gave earlier of opening up the country, the area, to observation from a variety of different actors, then will either validate or disprove whatever views my office puts forward in respect of a particular country.